You're born in 1705 in a poor village in the Papal States, Italy. You're the third son of a farmer who owns nothing. Your world is small, but not unhappy. You chase chickens in the yard. You help your mother gather herbs near the old cemetery, pretending the crumbling tombstones are castle walls. Your older brother teases you, but not cruelly. Life is fun. You're 5 when you try singing with the choirs during Mass. Turns out you're pretty good. So you keep singing. The priest smiles when you sing. The old women clasp their hands and whisper, "Like an angel." You don't know what that means. You just know it makes people happy. When you're 6, a traveling musician stops in your village during the harvest festival. He overhears you singing folk songs and rhymes with the other children. He stops walking. He stares at you. After Mass that day, he pulls your father aside. You don't hear the conversation, but you see them arguing. That night, your father's friends come over. They drink. They talk. They keep looking at you. His voice, one says, "It's a gift from God." "Cut, cut," another says, laughing. "Make him a musical. He'll be richer than all of us combined." Your father frowns and then asks them to leave. You don't understand what made him annoyed, so you go back to playing with your brothers. Over the next 2 years, the whispers get louder. Strange men visit your home. They make you sing scales and examine your throat. They nod and smile and whisper numbers to your father. He always looks conflicted when they leave. You notice he drinks more these days. You also notice your mother cries and argues with your father most nights. So you go back to being a child and doing what you love, singing. A few months after you turn 8, your parents call for you. Your father sits you down. "You're going to visit a surgeon," he says, "in a nearby town. Nothing serious, just a small procedure." You ask why. "You fell from a horse," he says. "You've never been on a horse." "The surgeon will fix it," your father continues. "And then you'll go to Rome, to a great school. You'll be a famous singer." You believe him. You're 8. You believe everything he says, except for the horse part. But you blame the wine for that. Throughout the interaction, your mother just gives you a bitter smile. The next day, he takes you to a neighboring town. There you meet some men who smell like wine and sweat. They're Norcini, butchers. They kill pigs for a living. You see your father sign a contract. You don't know what it says. What you do know is that the men take you to a room that smells like blood and herbs. You still think this is about a horse. Then the door closes, and you hear your father's footsteps walking away. Inside the bloody room, you're given something to drink. Opium mixed with wine. Immediately, the room spins, and your body feels far away. One of the Norcini lowers you into a hot bath. The water is scalding, but you barely feel it. He presses on your neck, hard, cutting off blood to your brain. Then, the world goes black. Your mind drifts back and forth. You hear distant and muffled voices asking if you'll wake up. Soon, you start to feel burning pain between your legs. You try to scream, but nothing comes out right. When you finally open your eyes, the Norcini is standing over you. "Good," he says. "You're alive." Few boys wake. You ask what happened. "You had an accident," he says. "Fell from a horse, remember?" He tells you they had to remove something, but he never mentions what. Then he assures you that you'll heal. You're just 8 years old, so you don't understand what's been taken from you. But you will. You're taken back outside and handed over to your dad. He has a wine bottle. The Norcini tells your father you'll sing like an angel, and if you're lucky, you'll die rich. And if he's not lucky, your father asks. The Norcini shrugs. Then he'll die anyway, just poor. Your father carries you on his back for the journey home. He also whispers, "Sorry," and "It's for your own good," the whole way. Back home, you're sheltered away from your siblings in a separate room. You recover from the pain, but for some reason you feel light between your legs. Your organ is still there. It just feels empty. Anytime you tell your mother, she starts crying. And when you tell your father, he looks at you strangely. A few months later, a maestro from Rome arrives. He examines you, makes you sing, nods. He asks your father to send you to him when you're healed. says he'll train you. That day, your father signs another contract. He tells you that you're going to Rome, to a conservatory, to become a great singer. So you leave your village with promises to come back when you're rich. What you don't know is you have been sold to the maestro. You arrive at the conservatory in Rome. It's a boarding school, a training factory, a prison. You're one of 16 castrati. That's what they call boys like you. You are a castrato now. Boys that have been castrated to prevent them from going through puberty. They do this to keep your voice pure, to keep you singing like an angel. The church likes it, so it's now a career path. But the conservatory isn't only for castrati. There are also normal boys training to be composers, instrumentalists, or church musicians. You're kept upstairs in warmer rooms. Your kind catch colds easily, the maestro explains. He tells you a cold could ruin your voice forever. Every day, your day consists of 1 hour of singing difficult pieces until your throat aches, 1 hour of trills until your tongue goes numb, 1 hour of passaggi, rapid runs that twist your voice into knots, 1 hour standing still in front of a mirror with the maestro watching. He tells you, no grimaces, no movement. You are an instrument. Control yourself. After that is literature, music theory, counterpoint, copying scores, harpsichord, and composition. Outside the conservatory is no different. You sing in churches, practice in courtyards with echoes, observe famous singers, and dissect their techniques afterwards. But as you turn 10, you finally see what a castrato really is. The first thing you notice is that your limbs are too long, gangly, strange. By 12, your chest expands, barrel-shaped and grotesque. Your hips, too, become round. You grow no Adam's apple, no facial hair. While going through this, you watch the normal boys go through puberty. Their voice is breaking. Yours doesn't. Your voice never cracks. That was the deal you made with God for your voice. At least that is what Pope Clement VII says. But at this moment, it seems more like a curse. With your shared predicament, the other castrati become your only family. You're all mutilated, all property, all damaged tools being sharpened. Giulio, 2 years older, warns you that out of every 100, maybe 1 becomes a Farinelli, the greatest castrato to ever live. The rest of you will become cathedral choirs if you're lucky, brothel boys if you're not. You ask what he means. He laughs bitterly. You'll see. As you grow up, you hear stories about the star castratos. Senesino, who sings for Handel in London and earns more than the composer. Farinelli, whose voice makes audiences faint. Caffarelli, who has gotten so rich he bought a duchy. But you also hear the other stories. Boys who finish training and never get hired. Others singing in churches for scraps. You even hear about the ones in Rome's brothels, dressed as women, servicing nobles. You finally understand what Giulio meant. So you practice harder. By the time you turn 18 and finish your training, you're the best singer in your year. All that's left to do is your debut. Your debut happens at a proper opera house in Rome. Not a church, not a private salon, a real stage. You debut as a prima uomo, the lead role. The maestro pulls strings, called in favors. Your voice earned it, but his connections delivered it. Your opening night ends with a standing ovation. Flowers thrown on stage, women screaming your name. You're one of the 20. You made it. Back in the conservatory, the contracts get signed immediately. 30% of your earnings go back to the conservatory. Debt repayment for 8 years of training, room, and board. You're also obligated to perform church services for them at no pay. The maestro also takes a commission on every contract he negotiates. You earn well, but you don't keep all of it. At least, not yet. But even that can't spoil your mood now. The success of your debut makes you the target of the biggest patrons of art in Rome. Cardinal Acquaviva and Cardinal Ottoboni fight to take you under their wing. You end up with Acquaviva. He moves you into comfortable lodgings with real furniture, clean sheets, and hot meals. He also introduces you to the Roman elite. Soon, you get invited to noble salons. You play cards with cardinals, drink wine with duchesses, It is on one of these drunken nights that you have your first affair with a married noblewoman. Discreet, generous with gifts. You're sterile, so there are no consequences. When you get back home, you see you have a letter from Giulio in Florence. He got a job with a local church. It's stable, but boring. He complains about how he's going to be singing the same 8 masses every month. You write back describing your life. Then you notice another letter. This time from Francesco, the worst in your year. His castration was a botched one, so his voice never belonged. He never got hired, so he asks for money. You send some. Not much, just enough to survive. Years pass and you turn 25. You've sung so much that Rome now sings your name back. People call you the next Farinelli. You're at the peak of the industry. You negotiate your own contracts now. The Conservatory debt is almost paid. Rome, Naples, and Venice opera houses compete for you. You earn 500 scudi per season, 20 times what a common laborer makes in a year. You live in a palazzo apartment. Fine clothes, dinner parties where you're the guest of honor. You hunt with noblemen, perform private concerts for cardinals. You even once met Handel when he visited Rome. He compliments your technique. You try not to look too pleased. But your life isn't only about singing. You also have a string of affairs. Noble women who desire your voice, your sterility, and your exotic status. You're desired by all of Rome, but never quite loved. Good thing you know the difference. You still write your friends. Giulio writes from Florence about how fat he is now. He tells you he's tired of the life. Same masses every month. Francesco's letters asking for money stopped coming. Last you heard, he's working in a brothel near the Piazza Navona. You feel a chill thinking about him. But you forget about it whenever you go on stage. Chants of a Viva il coltello, long live the knife, threatens to ruin your mood. But you always remind yourself that you're not Francesco. You're a star. And right now, they're cheering for you. So you stand there, receive the applause, watch flowers land at your feet, and tell yourself it was worth it. You believe it. You turn 33 in the spring of 1738. You're still performing to packed houses. The contracts keep coming. The money keeps flowing. You've just signed for 3 more seasons in Rome. Life is good. Then, in the late summer of that same year, smallpox tears through the city. The speckled monster, as Europeans call it, kills hundreds of thousands every year. And now, it wants you. One day, a red cloth is hung outside your door. Quarantine, fever, pustules, and agony become your closest friends. Cardinal Acquaviva sends a physician. The physician tries everything. Rudimentary treatments, herbal remedies, cold rooms. It costs a fortune. You don't mind. You believe that as long as you're alive, your voice exists. Riches can be made again. So you hang on for dear life. Literally. You survive. Barely. But the pox left its mark on you. The scarring is permanent. Your face is marked. Your throat stays inflamed for months. Your facial muscles, the one you trained for years to control, feel stiff. Wrong. You shake it off. Probably just your weak body. Recovery takes 6 months. During all of these months, you spend all your savings. The Conservatory debt is partially reinstated. You missed contracted performances, broke your obligations. But you pay them no mind. You're alive, and that's all that matters. You begin rehearsals for your return, but something feels off. The top notes feel strained. Your messa di voce, once flawless, isn't smooth anymore. You tell yourself it's just rust. You just need more practice. A letter arrives from Giulio. Heard you were ill. Thank God you survived. When do you return to the stage? You write back. Soon. Everything is fine. You finally return to the stage on your 35th birthday. Rome has been expecting your comeback. Tickets are overpriced, but nobody complains. In your first performance, a note cracks. Just once. But the audience heard it. The opera promoter says nothing that night. He just doesn't renew your contract. Venice offers you secondo uomo, the sidekick role. You haven't played that since you were 20. You take it. You need the money. The smallpox left vocal nodules on your cords, calluses from pushing through damaged tissue. Every performance costs you more than the last. You start drinking. Wine at dinner. Wine before performances. Wine to get through the day. Cardinal Aquaviva stops inviting you to salons. You overhear someone say, "He's not quite what he was." The noble women stop pursuing you. You're no longer exotic. You're just strange. You get a letter from Giulio. "I'm retiring from the Florence Cathedral. My knees are gone. What will you do?" You don't write back. Your conservatory obligations are still active. You're earning less, paying the same percentage, keeping almost nothing. By the time you turn 40, you have no patron, no permanent contract, and no savings. Slowly, you're being exiled from the world that once celebrated you. To survive, you do what you swore you'd never do. You solicit small parish churches in Rome's poor quarters, funeral masses, Easter services, the occasional wedding. You get paid a few scudi per service, sometimes bread and wine instead of coin. The priests are kind, but they pity you. They know what you were. Your body is visibly breaking now. Your spine curves, spine fractures that never healed right. You walk with a limp. Your teeth are ground to nubs from years of stress grinding in your sleep. Your barrel chest, once powerful, now looks deflated. The drinking escalates. One day you run into a young Castrato, 17, fresh from a conservatory. He's looking for a job at a church that once hired you. He looks at you and doesn't recognize what you are. You don't introduce yourself. You receive a letter from Giulio. He's in a hospital in Florence. Kidney failure. You do not realize that is his final one. You also hear about Farinelli. You hear that he is finally retired. He's retired to a villa in Bologna, surrounded by art and music, while being visited by Mozart and Casanova. You're happy for him. At least some of you got happiness. You hear that the practice is declining. Fewer boys are being cut. The Enlightenment philosophers, self-proclaimed smart men, call it barbaric. Opera audiences want tenors now, not castrati. Too late for you. Too late for the 4,000 boys who were mutilated every year for the last century. Too late for the boy you just saw. But at least it's ending. By 45, even the small churches stop calling. Your voice is unreliable now. Some days fine, some days broken. Priests can't plan around you. And there's also the backlash to consider. But you must eat. So you finally accept that you have nothing left to sell. Except yourself. You end up in a brothel near the Tiber, the same kind Francesco ended up in. You remember his letters. You remember sending him a little money. Now you understand what he felt. Men come, young, old, noble, common. One recognizes you. He asks you if you were the one that sang at Cardinal Aquaviva's salon. You say nothing. Some of the men that come for your body are gentle. Most aren't. One night, a drunkard doesn't want to pay. There's violence. You're lucky to survive, but you break your leg. You die in 1758, age 53. No family, no children, no legacy. Your body is buried in a common grave with other paupers. No headstone, no marker. Your name disappears. You were one of 4,000 boys castrated in your birth year. You were one of the few who survived the surgery. By 1870, the practice is illegal across Italy. But the church keeps employing castrati in the Sistine Chapel until 1902. Centuries pass. People romanticize your kind. They make movies about Farinelli. They talk about angelic voices. They don't talk about the 80% who failed, the brothels, the mass graves. They don't talk about boys like you, the ones who worked their whole lives and died with nothing. You weren't gods. You weren't angels. You were products, sold, cut, trained, used, discarded. The last one, Alessandro Moreschi, dies in 1922. He's the only castrato who ever made a recording. If you listen closely, you can still hear his last song. The people who screamed, "Long live the knife," never had to live with the effects of the knife. They only cared about your voice. And the truth is, that voice was never a gift. It was a curse. Because when you were alive or dead, no one even knew or cared about you. They only cared that you were a Castrato.